The universe isn't just out there, it's interacting with you. Claim your power by embracing the unknown. This is Tracy with Tracy Talks, and I'm here to ignite your curiosity. Don't just listen, embrace it. Have you ever wondered why it's easier to connect to some people than it is to other people? We try to come up with all of these different explanations as to why we just don't connect. But what if it's a matter of our Venus sign? The planet Venus was located somewhere in the sky. And as Venus moves through its cycles, they are located in different astrological signs. And all this means is the moment that each of us are born, we are infused with those different characteristics. I like to call it as our operating system. Each one of us has very different features. But Venus is kind of important because it's how we connect to people, how we relate to people. Our relationships go through cycles. Our friendships go through cycles. And a lot of it has to do with the Venus sign that we were born into and those qualities of how we like to connect. Venus is moving into the sign of Taurus today. Venus likes to be in the sign of Taurus. When Venus is in Taurus, it can express itself. It feels at home. It likes really good food. It wants to be happy. It wants things to be beautiful. It wants things to flow. We want to move through the world with ease. We don't like arguments when Venus is in Taurus. We don't want to have spats with people. I was listening to another podcast this week, and it was from several months ago with the actor Alicia Silverstone. And I wasn't really emotionally invested. I was just picking up different pieces of this podcast. She was talking about her relationship with her mom. And Alicia was saying that when she was younger, she really just liked to wear all black. Her mom was always wearing florals and didn't like how Alicia always wore black. And Alicia was just like, maybe it was just the time that I was born into and everybody was doing this. And to some degree, that's true. I went and looked at her chart, and Alicia has Venus in Scorpio. So where are all of my 80s people? When you think about the movie The Breakfast Club and Allison's character, who was played by Ali Sheedy. She wore all black. She was brooding. She didn't really want to fit in with everyone else. She was distant. She observed a lot of the time. This is the archetype of a Venus and Scorpio person. Venus and Scorpio, people don't want superficial relationships. They want somebody who can go deep. They want to connect on a very deep personal level. And I thought it was interesting that Alicia Silverstone was talking about this, then flashed to her iconic role in Clueless, where she plays the character Cher, who is all Venus and Taurus archetype. Like bright, beautiful clothes, just wants everybody to be happy and to get along, and we don't really want to fight. And how interesting I thought it was that her natal Venus is the dark brooding, but yet here she is playing a character that's exactly opposite of who she is. The placement of Venus in the sky at the moment we were born really does impact all of our relationships. I have looked back at previous relationships and reflected on why they didn't connect. And in those moments, I wasn't practicing astrology. I didn't understand that any of that mattered. I had read the Love Languages book, but it still didn't really click into place for me until I realized that I have my natal Venus in Scorpio. And when I look back to the men that I've dated a lot of Venus in Capricorn, which are very practical. We don't want to do anything that's frivolous. We don't want to buy fresh cut flowers because they're going to die in a few days. That my love and connection is based on very practical and realistic things. Well, my Venus in Scorpio didn't necessarily appreciate that. There were times where I wanted somebody to be raw and vulnerable and share things with me that I was the only one that knew. My Venus in Capricorn man was never, ever, ever going to go down into the underworld and bare their soul with me. And when I was in a relationship, I didn't understand the differences there. I was playing out this scenario of, well, they don't love me. They don't really care about me. The reality is I didn't understand that we express and communicate and connect in very different ways. Knowing the placement of the natal Venus gives a lot of information how someone is going to be able to connect with you. One of my relationships had Venus in Aries. My Venus in Scorpio did not feel connected to the Venus in Aries person. There was always this level of doubt. We were coming at love and connection from two different places. And without the proper tools and without the proper understanding, neither of us were ever going to be able to really, truly connect on a deep level that both of us wanted. Even though the Scorpio archetype really wants that deep connection, so does everybody else. Not everybody needs to go that deep. Not everybody needs to connect at that level. But in so many relationships, it seems like opposites attract, that there are characteristics that we don't have in ourselves and we see in somebody else, and there's that initial attraction and we really like it. But then as the relationship continues on, the connection and that spark seems to fade away because ultimately we don't feel love in the same ways. We don't appreciate the same things. Venus is going to be in Taurus from March 30th to April 24th. This may be a period, depending on where your natal Venus is and how it is in your chart. This possibly can be a period where it is easier to connect with people. It is easier to remain cordial and to easily connect and share in food and entertainment, that this Venus just really wants everybody to get along, and we want to be happy. We want to flow. We want good times. And wherever Taurus is in your chart, that sector of your life can get a little bit of a boost because Venus is happy. And most of what we're doing here on this world is trying to connect with people. Like, that's what we're really here for, is to connect and share and commune with people. Can you do me a favor? Can you subscribe, like, and share? It really helps me out. Thank you. Friendships may get a little bit of a boost. Relationships may get a little bit of a boost depending on where your Venus is. I just approach relationships so very different now that I wish I had known this 20 years ago when I was in a marriage and I was frustrated because somebody couldn't read my mind and it felt like they were doing things intentionally to hurt me. But now I realize that that person was they just had a different operating system. They just had a different way of moving through life. Do we need to connect at 100% in our relationships? I mean, realistically, we're not. But how helpful is it knowing now that somebody was just running their program? For the most part, this person wasn't waking up every day thinking, how can I hurt Tracy? How can I be distant? How can I upset her? No, they're running their operating system. And I was running mine as well. And we just kept missing. We kept passing. We were on different connections. My Venus in Scorpio was probably smothering to the Venus in Aries. I mean, the Venus in Aries doesn't really want that deep connection, just kind of wants to make this quick little initiation and retreat back out. And when I think about it now too, I don't know that I need to connect. I don't need all of my relationships to connect at that deep, intimate level. But I think it's important to have a couple of relationships where their Venus is in the same sign. Meaning to have people around you that really get you, that really know you, that you don't have to explain why you think the way you do, why you need the things that you do. It's important if you have your Venus in Taurus to have a friend that also has a Venus in Taurus, so you guys can communicate and speak on the same language. And it feels like you're clicking, and then you feel like you're understood, you feel like you're heard, and you're valued. And even as I've worked through some of my family dynamics, and I look at the Venus signs of my family members, well, it's no wonder none of us really felt like we were truly connecting. We all have different Venus signs. We all have other things going on. And there was never this real cohesiveness in our gatherings. There was never these moments of true connection with easy conversation, because we were all showing up with very different operating systems, speaking very different languages. We didn't understand each other. We didn't know why somebody was saying that and where they were coming from, and why does that even matter? And what different experience that we have when, now I know that this person is bringing this energy to the table. It has nothing to do with any of us. It's just their operating system. But imagine being in a family or in a relationship when both of you are speaking the same language and you see the same value and you see and appreciate the same things in life. Those relationships feel completely different than two people getting together who have very different Venus signs. And they're combative and they're fighting and you don't do this for me, you don't say these words, you don't do these, you don't buy me flowers. Knowing a Venus sign is a key that unlocks a different level of appreciation. And if you see a woman always dressed in black, always kind of brooding, always kind of tough and distant, she may just be a Venus in Scorpio. So hopefully your connections, your friendship, your relationships will get a little boost for this next month. And who knows, maybe get out, try to meet some new people, try to make some new friends. Venus is going to be on your side. Thank you for listening to this episode of Tracy Talks. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with others who would enjoy listening to this podcast. Friends can find Tracy Talks available on iTunes, Spotify, Substack, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at More Tracy Talks. And until next time, we meet again.